There are plenty good midfielders in FPL, but I am going to help you choose the best ones. Let's get right into it. Disclaimer, I am not an expert, this is just my opinion. Last video it was defenders and this time it is midfielders, which is a more interesting topic. Unfortunately, it was a harder list to make, guys. I went back and forth a few times. Honourable mention to Gibbs White and Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall especially, you know, the guy's good, but the two strikers he's trying to assist both are legally blind, so it makes it hard for him, bless him, so he couldn't be in this list. And Morgan Gibbs White only really works if you have rotation for the tough games he's got in game week 2 and 4, but they're both good options, you know. Big up to those guys. But Enzo Lefebvre managed to beat them on this list. Now, bit of recency bias here, I'm not going to lie. He's been doing well in pre-season. He also did well last season. The reason he's here, and you can tell it's the same reason for a lot of the midfielders I've picked, you know. I like midfielders who have the ability to score a goal, ability to assist, on set pieces, and a few of these guys are okay for defcons. Not many of them are amazing, like you see Lefebvre here has only got 7.1, but in games that Sunderland play where their back's against the wall, he's a guy that can get defcons. And I've already mentioned he's on set pieces, he's also on penalties. He's a guy, for only 6 million, who has lots of avenues to go down to get points and a fairly good opening fixture run. After the first 2 game weeks it tails off quite a bit, but because he's got so many set pieces and the opportunity for defcons and he's on penalties, he's not exactly a player you'd ever need to sell even if he's playing a tough game, because he doesn't need loads of open play expected goals to get points. Anyway, ramble over, that's Lefebvre. I'm not going to keep going on because I'm just going to end up repeating myself. We have Harry Wilson, a player who can also get the goals, get the assists, and takes a few set pieces. We saw in pre-season he was on, I think, right-sided corners. Correct me if I'm wrong, you tryhards in the comments. But I think he will be taking some set pieces. Definitely not penalties, those are Calvert-Lewin's. Harry Wilson's data here, you can't really take it, you know, as it is, because he's not playing for Fulham anymore. Fulham were a bad attack last season. Out of all the teams that stayed up in the Premier League, Fulham were the second worst. The only team worse was Sunderland. I left that out when I was talking about Lefebvre because I wanted to talk about how good he was, not how bad the Sunderland attack was. The Fulham attack wasn't good and Harry Wilson still put up good numbers. In this Leeds attack, I don't think his minutes will drop off. As you can see here, he was averaging 74 minutes per appearance. I'd expect something similar at Leeds. I find it very hard to believe that any winger at Leeds would start over Harry Wilson. The guy is very good. So I believe his data here can only really get better. And the Leeds fixture run is pretty good. So Harry Wilson is currently in my draft. I did have Dewsbury Hall over Harry Wilson in my first game week 1 draft. I've decided because Ndiaye's leaving and Dewsbury Hall's assist creative potential is worthless with Beto and Barry up front, that Wilson is the guy I'm going to go for. Above him, we have Semenyo, who was also in my original game week 1 draft, but not there anymore. Still a very good player. The underlying data, you would expect it to be a bit better. You know, a player like Semenyo, how many points he got, you would expect it to be a lot higher, but no, he's just a very good finisher. And he got not fortunate with the assists, like he was in the right place at the right time. But as you can see, he has less than 1 shot assist per 90, which is quite low. It's on the lower side of things. His post-shot expected goals, though, quite high. The highest on this list. It's not amazing, you know, if you consider the fact it's compared to his XG total, he's hardly overperforming the expected goals. And as you see higher up this list, the players do not get any better at their post-shot expected goals. On paper, they're quite bad finishers, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So Semenyo at 8.5 million, I think is a great value option, especially when you look at Saka and Palmer for 9.5 million. I know they're both on penalties, but FPL Towers need to do a better job. There is no way in hell these guys are worth 9.5 million. I would pay more for Semenyo than I would Palmer and Saka. The issue with Semenyo is Pep is gone. This can affect Man City, but we don't know how. They could change formation. There could be more rotation. Semenyo might not be the favourite. I doubt it. I do believe Semenyo will be starting. The issue is, will they be as good? We just don't know. And if you have Haaland in your team, which a lot of you watching this do, you'd be investing a lot of your money in Manchester City. You know, if you have O'Reilly, Haaland and Semenyo, who are all really good options, and it's not a bad shout to have them all in your team, that's 1/3 of your budget gone on Man City. If Man City have a disaster class under Maresca, or they just have the odd bad game, you're basically guaranteed a red arrow that game week because you've put all your eggs in one basket. So while Semenyo is good, I'd be careful and I'd keep an eye on him in pre-season before definitely locking him in your teams. Then we have Morgan Rogers. This is tough, right? Once again, the data here, you can't really look at it because he played at Aston Villa last season. He's now at Chelsea, and at 7.5 million, a lot of us were shocked. First off, I want to talk about his underlying data, guys. It's not really that great, is it? It's okay. It should improve when he's at Chelsea. You would think it does, especially with Xabi Alonso coming in, but you can't guarantee it. My thought process is that Rodgers will be starting in the Chelsea attack as the sort of centre attacking mid, and you'll have Palmer on the right, you have Pedro up front, and whoever on the left. I don't keep up with Chelsea enough to know. I do think he'll be starting pretty much every game because you saw Aston Villa, when they were playing European football and Morgan Rogers had to play 3 games within 7 days, he didn't care. He did it every single time. So playing at Chelsea, I can't see why that would change. I mean, they have more squad depth, so they could bench him now and then. But in the early parts of the season, I don't see a way he's getting benched. I believe he's going to be a regular attacker in a strong Chelsea attack for only 7.5 million. But we've not seen Xabi's Chelsea Alonso. Xabi's Chelsea Alonso. I'm going to pretend I didn't say that. We've not seen Xabi Alonso's Chelsea or Morgan Rogers at Chelsea yet. I think I got it right that time. God, you guys can tell sometimes I talk way too fast. Anyway, on to the top 3. And Mbeumo, oh my God. What the hell is this guy doing in my list? Some of the worst post-shot expected goals I've seen. And I watched it live. I'm a Man United fan. You can tell by the shirt. Mbeumo was stinky, especially towards the end of last season. So why is he here? Well, the underlying data is amazing. The opening 3 games are great, and Mbeumo, aside from Bruno Fernandes, is the only Manchester United attacker that I feel has reliable minutes. A lot of people are picking Cunha in their FPL teams, and by the way, Cunha's post-shot expected goals was some of the best in the league last season. My issue is Rashford and Dorgu can both play left wing. In fact, before Dorgu got injured, he was starting at left wing ahead of Cunha, which makes me reluctant to pick Cunha, whereas Mbeumo, yes, he has Ahmad for direct competition, which isn't easy. But if you look at his minutes last season, Mbeumo was the main starting right winger for like 90% of the season. Even when he played quite bad towards the end of the season, you could see he was still favoured because he is such a good attacker despite his poor finishing. So I believe at 8 million for the first 3 game weeks, he's going to be great value for you guys. But if he does miss a big chance, I warned you, okay? I warned you with the post-shot expected goals. You can't get mad at me. Then we have Bruno Fernandes. Many of you would have expected him to be at the top, but he's not. Bruno is obviously 12 million. He's expensive, and we know how good he is. He was amazing last season. He's probably going to be great this season with 17 assists under Michael Carrick in 19 games, plus goals scored 2. He had a generational second half of the season, and I don't see him slowing down. The issue is with Bruno, well, it's my personal issue. I'm not a fan of Haaland and Bruno drafts, and that's not to say they're bad, it's just my opinion. I just don't believe you can build a great team with both of those there. You can have a bunch of good value players, yeah, sure. But every time Bruno isn't your captain or every time Haaland isn't your captain, they're kind of wasting value in your team because the only reason they cost so much is due to the fact they can bring in big captaincy hauls. If captaincy wasn't in the game, not a single person would own these 2 players. And that sounds ridiculous, but if you look at the maths and the points per million, you'll see players costing over 10 million don't bring much value unless they're your captain on a regular basis. But I'm not going to get into it too deeply. You guys don't need to hear all that. We know how good Bruno is, but he does cost a lot. We then move on to Szoboszlai, who is like Bruno to a lesser extent. He can get the goal involvements from open play. He's on a lot of set pieces, not penalties unfortunately. He's okay for defcons. 7.89 doesn't seem amazing, but it's similar to Enzo Lefebvre in the sense, when Liverpool's back is against the wall, Szoboszlai is a guy who can get defcons in the tough games, which makes him a player you can play through any fixture because he's got the set pieces, reliability for minutes, and the chance to get assists or goals from corners and free kicks. So for me, 7 million for Szoboszlai was way too cheap. And that's not easy for me to say, guys, I don't like Liverpool, but this guy should have been probably 8 million. 8 million, 7.5 would definitely still be good value. 8 million is where I would actually debate bringing him in or not. 7.5 million, I believe, would still be an absolute steal. He's just got way too many avenues to go down to get points in such a strong Liverpool team. They're probably going to be a top 4 team next season. I'd be surprised if they weren't. And Szoboszlai is easily the most reliable player to choose from that team. You've got other options too. You know, I like some of the forward options. But for me, Szoboszlai is... I keep going on about it. I'm just saying the same thing over and over again. I do apologise. You can see the data here. You know, the shot assists are quite good. The expected goals are kind of low, but they're not non-existent. I think he's an all-round great player. Anyway, ramble over. Right, I'm sorry for chewing your ear off. That is my list. Guys, once again, this is just my opinion. Let me know what you disagree with. You may know more than me. You could be an expert who disagrees, and you may change my mind. If you made it this far, you are greatly appreciated, and I will see you all in the next video.